third graders, Mrs. Bark here. Hope you guys are doing well. Today the weather was super nice outside for a while until the thunderstorms rolled in. But it was so nice and warm, and it made me think about all the fun we're going to have over Easter break. Tomorrow, after school's out, we can go outside and play for as long as we want and enjoy the sunshine and all the great free time we have, right? Reading books, doing puzzles, taking walks, playing outside with your siblings or your mom and dad. It's going to be great. So, I'm back with more of James and the Giant Peach, and we are on chapter 19. We just left off with the centipede reading a long poem, right? He burst into song, as Roald Dahl likes to do, and then they became full of peach, right? They started eating the peach. They were hungry. So we're on chapter 19. Look, cried the centipede just as they were finishing their meal. Look at that funny thing, black thing gliding through the water over there. They all swung around to look. There are 2 of them, said Miss Spider. There are lots of them, said the ladybug. What are they? Asked the earthworm, getting worried. They must be some kind of fish, said the old green grasshopper. Perhaps they have come along to say hello. They are sharks, cried the earthworm. I'll bet you anything you like that they are sharks, and they have come along to eat us up. What absolute rot, the centipede said, but his voice suddenly seemed to have become a little shaky, and he wasn't laughing. I am positive they are sharks, said the earthworm. I just know they are sharks. And so, in actual fact, did everyone else. But they were too frightened to admit it. There was a short silence. They all peered down anxiously at the sharks, who were cruising slowly round and round the peach. Just assuming that they are sharks, the centipede said. There still can't possibly be any danger if we stay up here. But even as he spoke, one of those thin black fins suddenly changed direction and came cutting swiftly through the water right up to the side of the peach itself. The shark paused and stared up at the company with small, evil eyes. Go away, they shouted. Go away, you filthy beast. Slowly, almost lazily, the shark opened his mouth, which was big enough to have swallowed a perambulator, and made a lunge at the peach. They all watched aghast. There's the shark. And now, as though at a signal from the leader, all the other sharks came swimming in toward the peach, and they clustered around it and began to attack it furiously. There must have been 20 or 30 of them at least, all pushing and fighting and lashing their tails and churning the water into a froth. Panic and pandemonium broke out immediately on top of the peach. Oh, we are finished now, cried Miss Spider, wringing her feet. They will eat up the whole peach, and then there'll be nothing left for us to stand on, and they'll start on us. She is right, shouted the ladybug. We are lost forever. Oh, I don't want to be eaten, wailed the earthworm, but they will take me first of all, because I am so fat and juicy, and I have no bones. Is there nothing we can do, asked the ladybug, appealing to James. Surely you can think of some way out of this. Suddenly they were all looking at James. Think, begged Miss Spider. Think, James, think. Come on, said the centipede. Come on, James. There must be something we can do. Their eyes waited upon him, tense, anxious, pathetically hopeful. Chapter 20. There is something that I believe we can try, James Henry Trotter said slowly. I'm not saying it'll work. Tell us, cried the earthworm. Tell us quick. We'll try anything you say, said the centipede. But hurry, hurry, hurry. Be quiet and let the boy speak, said the ladybug. Go on, James. They all moved a little closer to him. There was a longish pause. Go on, they cried frantically. Go on. And all the time while they are waiting, they could hear the sharks threshing about in the water below them. It was enough to make anyone frantic. Come on, James, the ladybug said, coaxing him. I'm afraid it's no good after all, James murmured, shaking his head. I'm terribly sorry, I forgot. We don't have any string. We'll need hundreds of yards of string to make this work. What sort of string? Asked the old green grasshopper sharply. Any sort, just so long as it's strong. But, my dear boy, that's exactly what we have. We've got all you want. How? Where? The silkworm, cried the old green grasshopper. Didn't you ever notice the silkworm? She's still downstairs. She never moves. She just lies there, sleeping all day long. But we can easily wake her up and make her spin. And what about me, may I ask? Said Miss Spider. I can spin just as well as any silkworm. What's more, I can spin patterns. Can you make enough between you? Asked James. As much as you want. Here's a picture of the silkworm. And quickly, of course. And would it be strong? The strongest there is, as thick as your finger. But why? What are you going to do? I'm going to lift this peach clear out of the water, James announced firmly. You're mad, cried the earthworm. It's our only chance. The boy's crazy. He's joking. Come on, James, the ladybug said gently. How are you going to do it? Skyhooks, I suppose, jeered the centipede. Seagulls, James answered calmly. The place is full of them. Look up there. They all looked up and saw a great mass of seagulls wheeling round and round in the sky. I'm going to take a long silk thread, James went on, and I'm going to loop one end of it around a seagull's neck. And then I'm going to tie the other end to the stem of the peach. He pointed to the peach stem, which was standing up like a short, thick mast in the middle of the deck. Then I'm going to get another seagull and do the same thing again. Then another and another. Ridiculous, they shouted. Absurd, poppycock, balderdash, madness. And the old green grasshopper said, how can a few seagulls lift an enormous thing like this up into the air, and all of us as well? It would take hundreds, thousands. There is no shortage of seagulls, James answered. Look for yourself. We'll probably need 400, 500, 600, maybe even 1,000. I don't know. I shall simply go on hooking them up to the stem until we have enough to lift us. They'll be bound to lift us in the end. It's like balloons. You give someone enough balloons to hold, really enough, then up he goes. And a seagull has far more lifting power than a balloon. If only we have the time to do it. If only we are not sunk first by those awful sharks. You're absolutely off your head, said the earthworm. How on earth do you propose to get a loop of string around a seagull's neck? I suppose you're going to fly up there yourself and catch it. The boy's dotty, said the centipede. Let him finish, said the ladybug. Go on, James. How would you do it? With bait. Bait? What sort of bait? With a worm, of course. Seagulls love worms. Didn't you know that? And lucky for us, we have here the biggest, fattest, pinkest, juiciest earthworm in the world. You can stop right there, said the earthworm. That's quite enough. Go on, the other said, beginning to grow interest. Go on. The seagulls have already spotted him, James continued. That's why there are so many of them circling around. But they don't dare come down to get him while all the rest of us are standing here. So this is what... Stop, cried the earthworm. Stop, stop, stop. I won't have it. I refuse. Be quiet, said the centipede. Mind your own business. I like that, my dear earthworm. You're going to be eaten anyway. So what difference does it make whether it's sharks or seagulls? I won't do it. Why don't we hear what the plan is first, said the old green grasshopper. I don't give a hoot what the plan is, cried the earthworm. I am not going to be pecked to death by a bunch of seagulls. You will be a martyr, said the centipede. I shall respect you for the rest of my life. So will I, said Miss Spider, and your name will be in all the newspapers. Earthworm gives life to save friends. But he won't have to give his life, James told them. Now listen to me. This is what we'll do. Chapter 21. Why, it's absolutely brilliant, cried the old green grasshopper when James had explained his plan. The boy's a genius, the centipede announced. Now I can keep my boots on after all. Oh, I shall be pecked to death, wailed the poor earthworm. Of course you won't. I will. I know I will. And I won't even be able to see them coming at me because I have no eyes. James went over and put an arm gently around the earthworm's shoulders. I won't let them touch you, he said. I promise I won't. But we've got to hurry. Look down there. There were more sharks than ever now around the peach. The water was boiling with them. There must have been 90 or 100 at least. And to the travelers up on top, it certainly seemed as though the peach was sinking lower and lower into the water. Action stations, James shouted. Jump to it. There's not a moment to lose. He was the captain now, and everyone knew it. They would do whatever he told them. All hands below deck except Earthworm, he ordered. Yes, yes, they said eagerly as they scuttled into the tunnel entrance. Come on, let's hurry. And you, Centipede, James shouted. Hop downstairs and get that silkworm to work at once. Tell her to spin as she's never spun before. Our lives depend upon it, and the same applies to you, Miss Spider. Hurry on down. Start spinning. Chapter 22. In a few minutes, everything was ready. It was very quiet now on top of the peach. There was nobody in sight. Nobody except the earthworm. One half of the earthworm, looking like a great, thick, juicy pink sausage, lay innocently in the sun for all the seagulls to see. The other half of him was dangling down the tunnel. James was crouching close behind the earthworm in the tunnel entrance, just below the surface, waiting for the first seagull. He had a loop of string in his hands. The old green grasshopper and the ladybug were further down the tunnel, holding onto the earthworm's tail, ready to pull him quickly out of danger as soon as James gave the word. Here's the picture of the earthworm. You can see James's head there. And far below, in the great hollow stone of the peach, the glowworm was lighting up the room so that the two spinners, the silkworm and Miss Spider, could see what they were doing. The centipede was down there too, exhorting them both frantically to get greater efforts, and every now and again James could hear his voice coming up faintly from the depths, shouting, "Spin, silkworm, spin, you great lazy brute! Faster, faster, or we'll throw you to the sharks." "Here comes the first seagull," whispered James. "Keep still now, earthworm, keep still. The rest of you get ready to pull." "Please don't let it spike me," begged the earthworm. I won't, shh." Out of the corner of one eye, James watched the seagull as it came swooping down toward the earthworm. And then suddenly it was so close that he could see its small black eyes and its curved beak. And the beak was open, ready to grab a nice piece of flesh out of the earthworm's back. "Pull!" shouted James. The old green grasshopper and the ladybug gave the earthworm's tail an enormous tug. And like magic, the earthworm disappeared into the tunnel. At the same time, up went James's hand, and the seagull flew right into the loop of silk that he was holding out. The loop, which had been cleverly made, tightened just the right amount, but not too much, around its neck, and the seagull was captured. "Hooray!" shouted the old green grasshopper, peering out of the tunnel. "Well done, James!" Up flew the seagull, with James paying out the silk string as it went. He gave it about 50 yards and then tied the string to the stem of the peach. "Next one!" he shouted, jumping back into the tunnel. "Up you get again, earthworm. Bring up some more silk, centipede." "Oh, I don't like this at all," wailed the earthworm. "It only just missed me. I even felt the wind on my back as it went swishing past." "Shh," whispered James. "Keep still. Here comes another one." And they did it again and again and again. And the seagulls kept coming, and James caught them one after the other and tethered them to the peach stem. 100 seagulls, he shouted, wiping the sweat from his face. "Keep going," they cried. "Keep going, James. 200 seagulls, 300 seagulls, 400 seagulls." The sharks, as though sensing that they were in danger of losing their prey, were hurling themselves at the peach more furiously than ever, and the peach was sinking lower and lower, still in the water. 500 seagulls, James shouted. "Silkworm says she's running out of silk," yelled the centipede from below. "She says she can't keep up much longer. Nor Miss Spider." "Tell them they've got to," James answered. "They can't stop now." "We're lifting," somebody shouted. "No, we're not. I felt it. Put on another seagull, quick." "Quiet, everybody, quiet. Here's one coming now." This was the 501st seagull, and the moment that James caught it and tethered it to the stem with all the others, the whole enormous peach suddenly started rising up out of the water, slowly. "Look out, here we go. Hold on, boys." But then it stopped, and there it hung. It hovered and swayed, but it went no higher. The bottom of it was just touching the water. It was like a delicately balanced scale that needed only the tiniest push to tip it one way or the other. "One more will do it," shouted the old green grasshopper, looking out of the tunnel. "We're almost there." And now came the big moment. Quickly, the 502nd seagull was caught and harnessed to the peach stem, and then suddenly, but slowly, majestically, like some fabulous golden balloon, with all the seagulls straining at the strings above, the giant peach rose up, dripping out of the water, and began climbing towards the heavens. Okay, you got to see this picture because it's pretty awesome. Look. The sharks are snapping at him, hey? That is pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to stop it here because it's been 15 minutes of listening to me read. Hopefully you're enjoying this book as much as I am. I think it's pretty entertaining. Well, I want to wish you all a very happy Easter. I hope you guys enjoy spring break, and we'll see you afterwards. Bye.